Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, and welcome to the program. Welcome to the show. This is Tenny Miller, and I'm coming to you live from my studio here in Montego Bay. So how are you? Just want to say good afternoon and welcome to my weekly conversation here with you, our valued listeners and supporters from across the diaspora, wherever you are. Just want to say it's a program where we look at issues that surrounds us here in South Florida, issues that affects us as diasporans across the diaspora in South Florida and wherever we are on the web. And we have a conversation daily and, what you say now? Exchange thoughts. We look at the issues together, how they impact our lives individually and collectively, how they impact what's happening at home, where we're from, whether it's Jamaica or across the Caribbean. And we see how together we can, come with answers for this. I do not pretend to be the repository of information by any means, but I ask you to facilitate a discussion, share your opinions. If you want to share a thought or idea, you can just send us a quick message to tennymillerlive@gmail.com. Feel free to send it to me at tennymillerlive@gmail.com, and we'll take your message. Or if there's a number online, feel free to be able to call us and say what your thoughts are and what your issues are, and we're more than happy to entertain a discussion on this. So feel free. And irrespective of what's on our agenda for the day, whatever it is that you want to talk about, we're more than happy to not necessarily divert, but to include it into the discussion process, whether immediately or sometime during the show, so that we can have a clear, you can have a better understand, and we can, have some reasonableness in what happens. Today's show, I'm a little bit distracted because there's something that I heard earlier, which I'm trying to balance well. It doesn't affect you anyway, so I will not put it on you. So, engineer, cut my audio down in my, fine, thank you. Now, as it relates to what's happening out there, I noticed that there is a young man who is creating sensation across the world. It's his age, it's his time, and he's making full use of the technology. They call him Speed, and he's moving at lightning speed in terms of the kind of support that he's raking up across the world with his social media postings and content and so on. And that's wonderful. And, it's young people time now, and it's a different generation, a different age, a different time. So we see how well he might be able to use that productively for young people like himself, and to send positive messages to young people, as well as to allow officialdom to recognize the power, the talent, and the skill of the next generation. And do you put them on the back burner to wait, or do you let them go and let them do what they have to do? Because some people have a tendency to say, make the little youth wait, we can go sit down. Look at what he's doing with the use of the technology and with himself and with the newfound content, as we call it. But then that's for another part of the discussion. There are also other things that are happening, in the sense that there are some things that are happening here in Jamaica where some elements of crime is concerned, with regards to some recent happenings in Montego Bay, where a woman was shot at the front of a church. And we say we can see how we can look at that later on. But let us look at what's on the agenda for the moment. The touching of the mace.
ceremonial mace is an ornamental staff used in Jamaican parliamentary ceremonies and sessions. Without the mace, Parliament cannot lawfully meet, debate, or pass laws. The mace was recently refurbished by renowned Canadian conservator Alexander Gabov. Marlon Samuels has more in this special report.
At the start of the sittings of Jamaica's Parliament and the Senate, a silver, gilt and gold ornamental club about 5 feet in length is carried into the chamber. It is a historic symbol of authority. It's called a mace and dates back to the 1700s.
It is a symbol of authority, representing Her Majesty. Without the mace, procedures of Parliament cannot be, laws cannot be enacted, repealed, or made. The mace acts as that authority. Not only acts as authority, but is placed in the correct position in the Parliament as well.
We have 2 maces in Jamaica. We have 2 houses, and each house has its own mace. So but both of them perform the same function, representing the monarch.
During the Great Earthquake, 1692, the original mace was destroyed, got damaged. Therefore, a resolution was made for a new mace to be made in England. So the instruction was given in 1692, and we got the Senate's mace in 1753. From hence, we have been using the Senate mace until later in years, we got a second mace, that came about in 1757, and we have been using that mace since. The maces are stored in a strong room in the Speaker's office, and that strong room has 2 locks to it. So it is in a safe area and cannot be entered unless it is the Speaker or the Marshal to the Houses of Parliament. There are slight variation in design in that the House of Representatives mace does not have the coat of arms. However, the Senate mace do have the coat of arms on it. Also, the House mace, the crown portion is a bit larger than the Senate mace.
Ceremonial maces are brought to each meeting of the House. So before the meeting convenes, the mace bearer, in our case the Marshal to the Houses, enters the chamber with the presiding officer. So in the case of the House, it would be the Speaker of the House, and with the Senate, it would be the Senate President. Once the members have said their prayers and the Speaker invites them to sit, the mace is placed on the table of the House. The table of the House is that piece of furniture that sits in front of the clerk's desk, and we have on it the laws of Jamaica. So the mace is placed on this. So as long as the House is in session, sitting as the House and not committee, the mace is on the table. If the House goes into committee, of the whole House that is, then the mace is placed below the table until the House reconvenes, when it goes back to its place for the House to have the authority to sit as the House, or the Senate as the case may be.
The flanged end or the head.
So that was a view of what the mace is. The sergeant at arms carries the mace into the house, into the chamber, and it is placed on that table in front of the Speaker, where the clerk sits, just at the foot of the clerk down there. Now, I open with saying the touching of the mace. The touching or taking the mace, the touching or taking of the mace is regarded as, or the mace is regarded as almost sacrosanct. The mace basically stands for 3 things: lawful power, Parliament's right to govern, respect for democratic process, debates must happen under rules, and continuity of government. The system functions under established authority. Those are the things that the red mace stands for. So when people talk about the mace in Parliament, they are not talking about just a stick or a silver or gold piece of instrument taken into the House for the sitting of the House or into the Senate for the sitting of the Senate. It's the physical symbol of the power of Parliament in absence of Her Majesty the Queen, who reigns supreme. The program is Tenny Live, and we are coming to you from our studios. Now, during this week, a number of things happened. The budget debate is on, and they're now into the element of sectoral debate. And the government, having put together and looking at the magnitude of repairs and reconstruction to be done to Jamaica, and to put back people's lives together, and to bring back some of the major elements of the economy which have been hit terribly by the earthquake, have come up with they have come up with a plan to do the reconstruction. And the plan is to create a company, an entity, which is now being debated to be a possible monstrosity, but an entity to be commanded, managed, and operated and functioned by one man on the direction and the advice of the Prime Minister, or in instructions of the Prime Minister as the Minister. This man will have almost absolute powers. And absolute power, we know what happens to that. Absolute power can corrupt absolutely. So with this NARR, National Reconstruction, National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, the government is putting this together and coming up with a legislation to bring this authority into law so that they can now expedite the business of rebuilding the country and rebuilding people's lives. And this entity will now have access, management, control, and the ability to spend trillions of dollars. Not just money that we would get as gifts. Not only money that the government of Jamaica would have found through the various means which government finds money through taxation and through the various arms that the government finds money for to finance the budget and to deal with expenditure on a regular basis. But they will be borrowing, and some countries have offered to lend money, considerable interest rate, but albeit at that rate, it's money that children yet unborn, Jamaican children yet unborn, we have to pay back. So not my generation, perhaps not some of your generation, but your children and your children's children and their children will have to pay back this money, because we borrow the money from foreign people. And if you don't pay back the money and you default on your payment debt, then there are all sorts of other measures that can come and, implications that it will carry. And some of us have felt and experienced the bitter pain of balance of payment deficit and, inadequate money to spend to buy food and clothes and medicine because we have to be paying back our foreign debt. A lot of us know that too well, and most of us have not yet had a breather, have not yet been able to exhale, because we are part of the generation that have been still paying back. And now with Melissa, we not only are pay back, but we also have to now turn around and build back. Some of which was created and built. We got to go build it back. So the NARR, National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, therefore is not just another ordinary organization or place. It is a very important organ, institution of the government, which must be carefully thought through, organized, structured, and planned, and put to work with clearly defined objectives, purpose, and with intent of helping to rebuild the lives of the Jamaican people and the important institutions and facility for the successful growth and development of the nation. So it is not a thing for just the JLP. It is not an organization for the PNP. It is an institution that's supposed to transcend the political party, irrespective of the fact that it is created by this party or this government. But it's an institution that is going to be working on behalf of Jamaicans, with the instructions from the government of the day, but working in the interest of Jamaica and Jamaicans to deal with reconstruction, to create the ability for resilience, survival, development, and growth. So the government, having searched other best practices in different parts of the world, it appears, and as we have been told in Parliament, came up with this authority, and the matter is being debated in our Parliament. The opposition, having received their copy of the document for debate in Parliament, have raised a number of objections to how the document is put together. And the government, the opposition, is, if we're going by the maze, and the fact that we are part of the British Commonwealth and we are all subjects of Her Majesty, the Queen, then Her Majesty's loyal opposition have raised very crucial questions for which they not only need answers, but they are inviting adjustment. They are seeking adjustment to these concerns, these deficiencies, these absence of accountability, clarity, transparency, and other areas that must and should and must be in our magnanimous documentation and organization of NARR, National Resilience Reconstruction Authority, must have safeguards and checks and balances so that the business of developing the country, the business of the growth of the economy, the business of restoring people's lives, some to what it were and some better than before. The business of engendering a new sense of hope into the young generation that listen, that all is not lost. Despite, Melissa, we have resources and we are going to create the institutions and set up the framework so that you will be able to find a place in this society to live, work, do business, and to raise your family. So the debate began. And irrespective of the opposition's interaction, and no doubt also some concerns and objections from some of the members, backbench members of the sitting government, which include former minister what's our portfolio was Justice Malahoo Fort. It is alleged to have also raised some serious concerns in terms of the structure and the framework of the document and the possible risk that are at stake. The government seemed bent on still continuing down the path of how the institution or the monstrosity is to be fixed, structured, and carry out its business. In Parliament yesterday, tempers flared. All persons from both sides rise in support, in condemnation, and not so much condemnation, but rise in support or in criticizing the construct of the bill in its present form, pointing out pitfalls and dangers, and seeking the government's attention to revisit the document and make some of these changes for the benefit of the country and the society. Because remember the last time we had Gilbert and we had a zinc scandal and we had a build back program and then we had issues that came out of that. So in order to prevent a recalcitrance, in order to prevent a reoccurrence of that, what happened was that the opposition beg, plea, suggest, criticize in more ways than one, in various ways, the construct and seek for changes and adjustments to the document. A number of persons make contribution. And I don't know if I have enough time to play maybe a 5 or a 6 minute clip from Member Dawes from St. Catherine. Made an interesting presentation. It was interrupted. I don't know. Can we play that clip with Mr. Dawes? And we might be able to play it again at the end. But can you play it for us as one of the contributors to the discussion?
When the people who are suffering from the hurricane, you don't talk, you are the Casanova of sweetheart deals. The Casanova of sweetheart deals. When the people who are suffering from the hurricane that passed 6 months ago and now face another hurricane season in 6 weeks, when they realize what was done here today, you will never be forgiven. So let my words go down in prophecy. This day will be remembered as the beginning of the end of this government. Because the mother in Maroon Town shall remember. The daughter in Darliston shall remember. The baby in Black River shall remember. The pensioner in Portmore shall remember. You don't in Portmore shall remember. They will remember the future you stole from them. They will remember the better health care you removed from them. They will remember the hope that they lost on this day. History does not remember those who had power. It remembers those who used the power for the benefit of the powerless. This government will be remembered, but I promise you, not for the reason you imagine.
The shadow spokesman on health for the People's National Party, the opposition spokesperson, making his contribution to the debate and leveled quite a number of criticism, concerns, and requests for adjustment and changes to various segments, as it apparent that the people for whom the legislation is supposed to be protecting and to be implemented to benefit from their presentation are being sidelined, being made absent, or not getting involved in the democratic process that involves with this. And with that lies the problem. We're going to go to a break at this time. When we come back from the break, we hope that we'll be joined by a parliamentarian who can help us to dissect and to unpack and understand this some more. Soon come. This is Tenny Miller Live.
Do you own land and need a title? Well, the National Land Agency, NLA, can help. Through the systematic land registration process, the NLA will assist residents to get titles in declared project areas across Jamaica. Systematic land registration is the methodical and orderly registration of parcels of land in a designated area known as systematic adjudication area. For further information on the systematic land registration process, including declared systematic adjudication areas, who can apply and the benefits, visit the National Land Agency's website at www.nla.gov.jm or email asknla@nla.gov.jm. The National Land Agency, one goal.
Are you living on or in possession of family land? Do you want to sell or subdivide the property? Use eLand Jamaica to search for details on the property. You can complete a title search and verify the owner before you sell the property. If your name does not appear on the title, register the land or clarify the existing title in your name before you sell. A title is a notice to the world of your ownership of land. For more information, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. The National Land Agency, one goal, to serve you better. Are you confident that you are the legal owner of your property? Take action to secure your property ownership. Get a registered certificate of title and become the legal owner of your property. To register your property and obtain a certificate of title, you will need to provide a tax registration number TRN, a valid government issued identification, a survey diagram, documentation to prove ownership, up-to-date property tax certificate, the names, addresses, and occupations of 2 neighbors over the age of 50 who are not family members and can give a declaration on your behalf. Proof that you have been in open, undisturbed, and undisputed possession of the property for 12 years or more. For further information on registering your property and obtaining a certificate of title, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. Email asknla@nla.gov.jm or message us at WhatsApp at 876-418-5089. The National Land Agency, one goal, to serve you better.
sorry. Welcome back to the program. Tenny Miller Live coming to you out of our studios here in Montego Bay. As promised, we wanted to take a deep dive into the issues surrounding the recent political uproar started in the house of the school children who love to play with their first chemistry set, or the apparent appearance of school children, the room received with the apparent appearance of school children who seem to be playing with their first chemistry set. But then that's another story. We're going to look at what might be the issues and circumstances leading to the touching of the mace. Because it is said that Angela Brown Burke, Member of Parliament for it's what, South St. Andrew, or part of Southwest St. Andrew, you know, Angela Burke just took up the mace, put it down, and well, repeated her action, then turned to engage members on the government side. So they say she take it up. And apparently she repeated her action the more than once. She take up this sanctimonious instrument, this instrument of authority and power that allows the parliament to carry out its business when they meet. We have asked for the presence of the member from South St. Catherine, the opposition spokesman on national security, Mr. Fitz-Jackson, to join us so that we can ask him, as a senior member of the House and somebody who understands fully well the various matrix of the Parliament, to share with us and help us to unpack this so that we can get a good understanding as to exactly what happened. Mr. Jackson is online with the Honorable Fitz-Jackson. It is my privilege, sir. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good afternoon, Mr. Miller. Good afternoon to your listeners. Is it across the globe?
Across the globe. What can I tell you with the technology? Thank you.
I thought much.
So, Tuesday we had another history-making moment in the Parliament of Jamaica. I see. Were you in Parliament at that moment when the whole drama was unfolding?
I was.
You were. So what actually happened on Tuesday in Mr. Gordon's house?
Well, you said the drama. I think there was more than one drama.
Okay.
On Tuesday, there was one with the Nara bill itself.
Yes.
And the other, though flowing from the debate.
Yes.
And the Nara bill was the naming of the MP for Southwest St. Andrew, Dr. Angela Brown Burke, and subsequent suspension for the rest of the sitting. Something like this year will mark 32 years since I've been in the Parliament continuously. And during that period, we have had speakers from different sides of the aisle, JLP and PNP. Without reservation or hesitation, the current Speaker of the House is the worst I've witnessed for my entire tenure. Worse in the manner in which the Speaker conducts him or herself. The worst in terms of the blatant bias and unevenness in the administration of the proceedings of the House. It's important to note that in the parliamentary system that we are are operating in and have been operating in. The speaker is supposed to be a neutral umpire. Though coming from the government side is required, like other Commonwealth Parliament, to be neutral. Neutral in the conduct of being the umpire in the chair. We know it's from the governing side that the speaker comes. But the administration of the House must be done in a balanced way because it's a people's house. It's not the PNP or the GLP house, it's the people's house. And it is one place that both sides or three sides supposed to act in accordance, well, in furtherance of the country's interests. If you look at the recordings, if you don't get the chance to be looking at the proceedings each week, if you look at the tapes, the recordings of the demeanor and manner of the speaker in conducting the business and in ruling on matters having to do with the opposition, it's despicable.
It is what?
Don't take my despicable.
Despicable.
So don't take my word from it. And the last one, you could just look at even last Tuesday. Just look at her presiding on Tuesday. And when you look at how she presided, and you're pleased, or anyone is pleased with that, then all I can say is that we have different measure of decency and civility. Very different.
But yeah, go ahead.
On Tuesday, the bill, as everybody know, is a controversial bill.
Very.
And we have made that clear from the beginning, the opening of the debate, our deep concerns about what the provisions are in the bill and the things which are not in the bill. And I won't enumerate those things at this time, but we can. We'll see fit. So in the process of those exchanges, at the committee stage, which is the time that you sit down, you don't stand when you're speaking at committees, you sit. And members are afforded the opportunity to ask questions, ask for clause and the provisions to be elucidated, clarified for the benefit of the members. And generally, that's what committees are all about. You can't get that done in a sitting when a member is making a presentation.
No.
All you can do is to listen, take notes, but you can't respond. You can't interrogate a provision in the bill then. It's when it goes to committee stage. And that's the reason why committee stage is a part of the process of lawmaking, so that members don't just come and just blindly vote yea or nay on everything. They get the opportunity to ask questions, and the lead person who is presenting the bill can respond. And also, you'll have the technical people from the ministry that the bill emanates from, that can assist the minister who is piloting the bill to provide the clarification to a member. The technical people can't speak.
No.
But they can break, the minister can excuse him or herself, go to the side where they're right there, seek the clarification. They're sitting there, they would have heard the question, they would have heard the concern, and they can assist the lead minister in doing that. That's what the committee is all about. It's one of information and for education. It's for clarification. It's built into the process. So during that period, MP Brown Burke made numerous attempts to get this. Now we are not speaker at that time, you are chairman of the committee.
Right.
Once you go to the committee, who leads is the chairman and not the speaker, though it's the same person, but the title his chairman. Dr. Brown Burke made numerous attempts to get the attention of the chairman of the committee, who is the speaker. And she was ignored. Now, where she sits is about 25 feet from where the chairman stroke speaker sits. No more than about 25, 30 feet, if so much. Very close proximity.
And she can't
Not
get
like
attention.
And she can't get attention. Now, she's there as an elected member in the midst of a debate that is far reaching. And the speaker is not affording her the opportunity. And that is not new with the speaker. I've had to challenge her on many occasions myself to be able to participate and been attempting to deny, only because I persist in my insistence at times that I'm able to participate. And out of frustration by Dr. Brown Burke and an attempt to ensure that she is heard, because the mayor's being displaced will disrupt the proceeding, she sought to disrupt, to get attention, to represent her people.
Having not been able to get any during committee status, during the committee sessions.
Indeed. So yes, the rule prohibit the mayor from being disturbed when it is either during the sitting of the House or the committee. Yes. But as I've said to someone, Mr. Miller, on many occasions, for you to get justice, you have to disrupt the system as it exists. Because if you're obedient to the system that excludes, restrict, in a just case, you cannot achieve what you're seeking to achieve.
But you are not only Her Majesty's loyal opposition, quote unquote, but you're also a representative of the people who elected you. And remember, the people not elected the government, they elected the opposition. So you're expected to participate, to intervene, and to ensure that their interest is served.
That's your primary objective, your primary responsibility. Your primary responsibility as a member of parliament is to represent, agitate, advocate for what is in the best interest of the people who you serve, the people who elect you, and the broader public. That's our primary obligation and duty. And I'll make it clear. It is not beyond me personally to break any law in fulfilling that response, any law existing if it is not being properly administered. Because my primary duty is to the people who elect me, who I represent. Not the arrogance, not the bias of anybody who was put in charge of managing the process or the system. System must serve people, and people serve system.
Serve system. And part of the common danger, what I see, seem to have been pointed out by herself, and all the speakers who spoke and made presentation, is a question of power, and how power is concentrated, and how absolute power can corrupt, as we have seen that it has before. And power is in the hands of one person.
The Prime Minister.
And the man who the Prime Minister appoints.
Well, ultimately the Prime Minister, because the bill legitimizes, the bill establishes that the Prime Minister handpick who is the CEO.
Yeah.
There is no established process independent of the Prime Minister for the recruitment of the CEO. He handpicks that person. That person has no oversight or governance board that will monitor on an ongoing, continuous basis the conduct and the activities, the manner of how that CEO runs that authority. The prime minister can fire the CEO. But it gets worse. In the bill that they pass, and I underline they pass because we never voted for it. We meaning the opposition. The vote went to a divide and we never voted for it. In that bill that the government is seeking to bring into law, if the CEO that is appointed by the Prime Minister and who is sworn to secrecy and everything that he does, right? And if that CEO should be charged by the police or what's the other entity name headed by Mr. Edwards?
Was it the financial services?
No, FID is one, but also
Mocha?
MOCA. If they are charged by them, the one, their defense, if they commit a crime, the prime minister can nullify all the penalties that that person is obliged to pay.
Are you serious?
Yes, I don't have a copy of the bill with me, right? But I encourage everyone to read it. And bear in mind, is the prime minister by himself or herself, whoever occupies that office, have the sole power of appointing that person. He or she is answerable only to the prime minister. Yes, there's mention about statements and reports being tabled, the Auditor General having power to investigate. That is after the fact, routinely after the fact. Yes, the Auditor General can do real-time audit, but those are only for special cases. The Auditor General don't do routine real-time auditing, performance auditing of any entity. Only when something is brought to light to them in a specific case that they intervene. So, what we're saying is that we know the level of governmental corruption in this country. We know what happened at Petrojam, for example, where they hire persons who don't even meet the qualifications stipulated for the position of HR manager. Right? And when everything was exposed, the prime minister, current prime minister who was the portfolio minister at the time, agreed to a golden handshake with a salary of over $13 million, which was $4 million more than even the prime minister's salary at the time. So when you have a history of these practiced by the government, and even if they never had that history, it's just bad governance. No transparency, no accountability for billions of dollars. The other thing about it too, that bill give the power to the prime minister to nullify all the regulatory agencies for approvals. So NEPA, the parish council, right, the fire brigade that have to approve for fire designs and provision, they can waive all those provisions. So there is no due process. Look, man, that bill is a bill that seeks to legitimize autocracy. That's what the bill does, among other things. Yes, sir. Are you there? Hello?
Are you back with me?
No, I've been here waiting for you. I was
I'm
just
sorry.
sending a message.
I had a, these modern day convenience, it becomes sometimes inconvenient thing. Sorry about that. Do apologize. We want to apologize for our listeners and our viewers for this break in transmission, but we had a technical issue. But I am just looking at the alarming nature and the kind of this thing can create one of the biggest scandal that can ever exist in modern time. That's the kind of a groundwork that we're setting up.
You know, it's very troubling. It's very troubling, Mr. Miller. I could not believe that in this day and age where Jamaica is ranked so poorly for corruption, the Prime Minister would have the temerity to bring a bill like this before Parliament that gives power to one person to override all the due processes for good governance, for procurement, for approvals in the hands of one person. And
Him
don't
say,
make any provision and make no provision for that person to be answerable to any tribunal as a matter of course, but only in a reactive way.
and as Prime
And
Minister, he there so has the sole authority to do, to say,
yes,
to
yes.
act.
As I said while we were on the break, this is a case of legislative autocracy.
Yes, indeed. But what is the recourse that the opposition has? Is there any?
One of the recourse we have been exercising in voicing these concerns, and what is of note that a significant number of various civic groups have come out and registered their displeasure, concern, and objection to these. Unless the government changes in its approach to deal with these things and put in place some of the things that we have asked for, along with other civil society groups, we have to just remain vigilant and use whatever power of the parliament to continue to demand information, scrutiny of the activities of this entity. For example, simple, reasonable thing. We ask for the provision in law, not in promise, but in law, that the CEO and the authority appear before Parliament once every 6 months, twice per year, and be able to, one, get a report on their activities, two, being able to question any activity that they are engaged in to ensure that there is probity in how they are conducted, as is the case with the BOJ. And the Prime Minister has refused that.
But why?
And you
Why would
ask why.
he?
You ask why.
But that's a
And
basic common sense, and that is a protective mechanism for himself.
Indeed. Indeed. It's the same rationale we advance, for example, about the use of body-worn camera by police when they're going on operation. Because you have all of these fatalities, well over 112 now for this year, where the account by the police differ significantly from persons in the communities in which these activities are carried out. And it's two different stories, right? The police's response, you can predict it. They
Yes.
went to the premises, right? And they were attacked, and the
And
police
they
opened
responded.
fire and these people died. It's predictable. It's the same story over and over. All of a sudden, every one of those criminals get braver than before and begin to open police
In a
fire
room
at
where
the
you
police.
can't escape, yet you're
In
going
a
to
room
open
that
fire.
can't escape.
Yeah. And they open fire on a policeman.
It is ridiculous. And the government advance and stand behind the story and expect people to embrace it. Well, what that does is it undermines the credibility, the respect, regard that the public has for the police officers, which is bad.
Indeed.
Because you have a lot of decent, law-abiding, professional police out there whose reputation get impaired. In much the same way that you have some corrupt politicians that impair the reputation of politicians because of their conduct.
But one of the
You know, you
concerns,
have persons.
one of the
No, I was
concerns,
saying. Go ahead.
one of the concerns we have doing is that where the bill is concerned, deep is the consultative process when it comes to various communities where you have to go into and to implement or to build or to do construction.
That's one of the points that was raised.
There's no
Now,
consultation.
there's a last minute amendment. I think there was about a number of amendments the Prime Minister brought the same day, same night.
I'm going to ask you to hold 1 minute for me, please. I'm just going to go to a quick break and then I come back. My discussion is with Fitz Jackson. Fitz Jackson, the opposition spokesman on national security. We're looking at the touching of the mace. Soon come back. This is Tenny Miller Live.
Do you own land and need a title? Well, the National Land Agency NLA can help. Through the systematic land registration process, the NLA will assist residents to get titles in declared project areas across Jamaica. Systematic land registration is the methodical and orderly registration of parcels of land in a designated area known as systematic adjudication area. For further information on the systematic land registration process, including declared systematic adjudication areas, who can apply and the benefits, visit the National Land Agency's website at www.nla.gov.jm or email asknla@nla.gov.jm. The National Land Agency, one goal.
Are you living on or in possession of family land? Do you want to sell or subdivide the property? Use eLand Jamaica to search for details on the property. You can complete a title search and verify the owner before you sell the property. If your name does not appear on the title, register the land or clarify the existing title in your name before you sell. A title is a notice to the world of your ownership of land. For more information, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. The National Land Agency, one goal, to serve you better. Are you confident that you are the legal owner of your property? Take action to see.
Welcome back. This is Tenny Miller Live, coming to you from the studios of Flex TV here in Montego Bay, Jamaica. I am having a discussion with parliamentarian Fitz Jackson, one of the senior members of the parliamentary group on both sides. He's a 5-star general, is what they call it.
My 8th term.
Huh?
My 8th.
You're 8th, so he's an 8-star general.
No, I'm not into this star business. I am no star. I am just a servant.
Just a servant of the people. Humble Fitz Jackson. No, there was an uproar in the house. And obviously, You see, those things don't happen unless it is precipitated or it is caused by something. And you had outlined earlier that it's not, and not only seem to have been Angela Brown-Burke, MP, but certainly other members have tried to get the attention of those persons who are guiding the process to say, listen, let us sit down and come to some understanding. Let us make some basic adjustments to the construct of this document so that it can affect and benefit the people in a positive way. And as a result of that, we have all of this excitement in Parliament. Look at what took place and in front of the nation here on Tuesday.
Angela Brown-Burke, the member from St. Andrew Southwestern. I am asking that you appreciate that you have been named by the chair in committee and you are named by the Speaker of the House for disorderly conduct. Marshall, go for her. That's not a joke, you know. Oh, you don't ever do that, member. Marshall, please. Angela Brown-Burke, I name you. Outside. Marshall, go for her. Angela Brown-Burke. Members, I name Angela Brown-Burke and ask that she be removed from the chamber. Those in favor, those against, the ayes have it. Member outside. Standing order under Rules of Order number 43, subsection 2. The Speaker or Chair shall order any member whose conduct is grossly disorderly to withdraw immediately from the House during the remainder of the day's sitting and may direct such steps to be taken as are necessary to enforce such order.
Madam Speaker, I hereby move that the member for St. Andrew South be suspended for the rest of the duration of the House.
Those in favor? Those against?
Madam Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, the motion that is being moved is that the member for South East St. Andrew be suspended for the remainder of the sitting.
Madam Chairman, we were proceeding quite effectively in going through the clauses of the bill. I think what we are witnessing now is a display which, when we reflect on this in years to come, it will not be amongst our best. And I think the order of the House and dignity of the House must be preserved. And I would invite all members to join in preserving that dignity of the House.
Please follow the rules of the House, members. And yes, if a member behaves out of order, the standing orders allow for the naming of said member. The rules of the House are serious and we should not take them for joke. Marshall, could you please explain to the member the rules of the House and the next action that follows if she does not remove herself from the House? Please explain, based on the rules of the House, what happens next. Let me expect, no, if she does not follow the rules, she will be suspended. Members, I am suspending the committee and resuming the House. Marshall, could you lift the mace, please? Suspending committee. Marshall, whether they're seated or not, raise the mace. That's the instruction. Members, we are back in the House. Member Angela Brown-Burke, the member from St. Andrew Southwestern. I am asking that you appreciate that you have been named by the chair in committee and you are named by the Speaker of the House for disorderly conduct. Member, at no time can you grab the mace in Parliament. Not even in jest, member. And not in protest either, Member Burchell. Members, member, do not leave. Member, do not leave. None of you. Members, again, I'm at the House. I am going to ask that we put to a vote the removal of the member. Yes. House Leader.
Madam Speaker, in accordance with
All of us can speak for 30 minutes on this motion.
in accordance
Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, we seem to have lost connection with Mr. Jackson. Hello? Mr. Jackson's connectivity seemed to be gone. We'd have to perhaps call him back and ask him to see if he can find a way to reconnect with us. We'll see if we can get a reconnection with Mr. Jackson. Engineer, you're trying to? Yeah, we seem to have lost the connection with Mr. Jackson. We were just playing that excerpt from what took place in Parliament and the nature and what happened during the proceeding and the proceeding and the fact that Member Burke was named as part of the procedure. It has to be mentioned that she was named, and therefore then she has to be suspended. She's going to be suspended from the for the sitting, and was suspended from the sitting for the rest of the afternoon. We are kind of concerned as to Mr. Jackson is likely to rejoin us. My friend, are you back with us?
Well, I never left.
But the technology left you again.
Well, it seems so.
Yes, sorry about that, Warren. I tell you, the inconvenience of modern day convenience.
Yes.
Oh boy, sorry about that. No, so
you were showing the clip with the proceedings in the House on Tuesday.
Right.
I think that's where it.
Yes, that's where we go. But what's your take on all of that?
Oh, well, you know, what we're seeing manifested on Tuesday is really a continuation of what has been happening with the Speaker since her tenure.
And the Prime Minister is not bent on reining in the Speaker.
Hello?
Or at hello?
Some technical glitch.
Are we here? Can you there? Are you there?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm saying that.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. I'm saying that something has got to be done to the Speaker if both at committee level and then during the proceedings at the House, there is this kind of a war and contention. Like she's there to block the opposition. I don't know if that is so. But
that has become evidently clear, Roy. That's not a speculation anymore. I saw, for example, on Tuesday during the debate, when MP Dayton Campbell was making his contribution to the debate, he was disrupted by members on the government side for a prolonged period of time, so much so that he could not be heard by none of us. He himself couldn't hear himself. He had to stop, and while he stopped, they were continuing. And I sat there and watched the Speaker put her hand to her jaw and watched her colleagues on the government side. Prolonged disruption said nothing and she did nothing. It's like she was just saying, keep on going, guys. And on the other hand, when a member from her side was making a contribution, and there was some heckling from my side, which happens from time to time, she immediately intervened to quiet the members on the opposition side. That particular incident when Dayton was speaking stands out clearly in my mind. Because it was such a long duration that she sat there, said nothing, do nothing, and allowed Dayton to be disrupted. And that's her pattern. You want to intervene, and she wants to know what you're going to ask to determine if she's going to allow you to speak. She was being rude.
But how can that be if you're a parliamentarian and you go to the House to take care of the business of the nation that you're elected to do? The Speaker has got to investigate and you have to tell her what you're going to speak about and get permission from her to say that, or she interrupt you.
Yes, right there. As if it's some basic school, infant school she's at. She attempted that with me once too. But I never allowed it to succeed. You want to ask a question and you must tell her what you're going to ask.
No, that is beyond reason.
The committees and the House is not the chairman or the Speaker's house. It is the members' house. Members on both sides. And that's the reason why the Speaker is expected to
be non-partial, impartial.
Yes, because guess what, Roy? Today the government is made up by the JLP. Tomorrow it will change.
Yes,
and the rules can't change, or the manner of administration change with who is there.
There must be a standard procedure which everybody must abide by.
It applies all the time. And any of us follow the line from those established ones, we are brought back into line, regardless of which side you're on. And that is standard in every parliament. But the Speaker, she will say that. But you just look at what manifests itself is completely different.
Is that because of is that inexperience on the part of the Speaker?
I don't think it's inexperience. I don't think it's inexperience. It's deliberate. The reason why I say it's deliberate, you watch her manner when she's making these rulings. Look how she swing her head, flash her hand. In a cantankerous way. That is demeaning.
And dismissive.
That's not civility. And she oftentimes talk about members must be careful how they behave themselves because you have visitors in the chamber and persons are looking on the internet. She should ask, I want her to look at her own self through the recordings.
There was an
answer to the country if those conduct like what we saw on Tuesday. Even on Tuesday, how she addressed the member that was named was disrespectful. You know, the language she chose to use, outside.
Yes.
That's not the language for the Speaker when you're ejecting some. You ask them to leave the chambers. To leave, not to go outside. You invite the marshal to have to remove the member. Even the instruction, though negative, must be civil.
Yeah.
Must be respectful. You go into a court of law and you see our judge is addressing a convicted person.
Yes, yeah.
They accord them the respect even when the judgment is not in the person's favor. And as I said, Mr. Miller, Just look back on what you saw. You show some of the clips of it.
Yes.
Everyone just ask yourself, is that civil?
Yeah.
Is that decent? And
Unfortunately,
when
it
the
leaves
head of
much
the
to be
parliament,
desired.
when the head of the parliament, the speaker, behaves in that way, she don't have the moral authority to expect it from other members.
Because
She has
people will
lost
know.
it.
Yeah, she has lost it, and therefore, but all is going to happen is that the entire situation in the house is just going to erode tremendously. And after
You
a
mean
time,
erode? It has eroded already. You mean erode further? But the prime minister must take responsibility for this
yeah, it's
because
unfortunate.
he's the leader of the party that forms the government.
And he names the speaker. But isn't this a dangerous precedent? Both here and I don't know of any other presidents across the Commonwealth where both the prime minister and his wife, son and or daughter who might be in parliament is both speaker and prime minister.
You know, Mr. Miller, I'm saying this publicly for the first time or second time. In the past term, parliamentary term, when she replaced MP Marissa Dalrymple, and indeed was the Prime Minister's wife. Technically, there was nothing wrong. And the benefit of the doubt was given to her that she would be sensitive to the fact that she's the Prime.
I'm sorry, we're having another challenge with our situation here. We might have to put the discussion with Mr. Jackson on hold and probably invite him to join us again for a follow-up discussion on this matter. Because there are so much things that are coming to light. And in fact, what we see playing out in the House, as is said by him, is not just the whole business of a member getting out of hand, but if the process is being aggravated, the situation is being aggravated over time. Are you back with me, Mr. Jackson? If it's being aggravated over time, then what happens is that it is just going to get from worse to and as Deb said, from worse to worse. And I'm not sure whether or not colleagues of the Honorable Speaker on that side of the House realizes that her behavior and the manner in which she conducts the proceedings and carry out her responsibility as Speaker might need some amount of adjustment, and therefore then to really find a way to have a discussion with her on the matter. It can't be that she's allowed to just continue like that. And like we say, if she's just going to continue, where will it go? Where will it end?
My suggestion is this, Roy. All well-thinking Jamaican need to add their voice and demand that the Speaker, out of decency,
yes,
and out of an attempt to preserve our democracy and our parliamentary practice and tradition, that she withdraw herself as Speaker. Persons are asking what the opposition will do. It's a matter that we are giving strong consideration to, and it is not off the table for us to move the relevant motion in Parliament in this regard. But I think it will be more appropriate and for the posterity of the
the integrity and the quality of what the parliament is to be and to represent, then something has got to happen. It cannot continue like this. It is absolutely and completely out of character as to what the proper parliamentary process should look and should represent. And it's something that we have to do something about. We have to do something about it. We're going to have to, engineer, continue this discussion with Mr. Jackson another time. And hopefully, I hope we get Mr. Angela Brownberg for the next time so that we can have this thing. But it is a little bit out of whack. And you obviously can sense a level of frustration coming from Mr. Jackson of having to handle and to deal with this process over time continuously for a while. So it's something that they have to do. We're up at getting a break. Let us go to a quick break now, and then when we come back after that break, we'll continue the discussion and see if we can schedule Mr. Jackson for another follow-up discussion at an early date. This is Tenny Miller coming to you live from the studios of Flex FM and on the Tenny Miller Live Show. Soon come back. Stick and stay.
And need a title? Well, the National Land Agency, NLA, can help. Through the systematic land registration process, the NLA will assist residents to get titles in declared project areas across Jamaica. Systematic land registration is the methodical and orderly registration of parcels of land in a designated area known as systematic adjudication area. For further information on the systematic land registration process, including declared systematic adjudication areas, who can apply and the benefits, visit the National Land Agency's website at www.nla.gov.jm or email asknla@nla.gov.jm. The National Land Agency, one goal.
Are you living on or in possession of family land? Do you want to sell or subdivide the property? Use eLand Jamaica to search for details on the property. You can complete a title search and verify the owner before you sell the property. If your name does not appear on the title, register the land or clarify the existing title in your name before you sell. A title is a notice to the world of your ownership of land. For more information, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. The National Land Agency, one goal to serve you better. Are you confident that you are the legal owner of your property? Take action to secure your property ownership. Get a registered certificate of title and become the legal owner of your property. To register your property and obtain a certificate of title, you will need to provide a tax registration number TRN, a valid government issued identification, a survey diagram, documentation to prove ownership, up-to-date property tax certificate, the names, addresses, and occupations of 2 neighbors over the age of 50 who are not family members and can give a declaration on your behalf. Proof that you have been in open, undisturbed, and undisputed possession of the property for 12 years or more. For further information on registering your property and obtaining a certificate of title, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. Email asknla@nla.gov.jm or message us at WhatsApp at 876-418-5089. The National Land Agency, one goal to serve you better.
Do you own land and need a title? Well, the National Land Agency, NLA, can help. Through the systematic land registration process, the NLA will assist residents to get titles in declared project areas across Jamaica. Systematic land registration is the methodical and orderly registration of parcels of land in a designated area known as systematic adjudication area. For further information on the systematic land registration process, including declared systematic adjudication areas, who can apply and the benefits, visit the National Land Agency's website at www.nla.gov.jm or email asknla@nla.gov.jm. The National Land Agency, one goal.
Are you living on or in possession of family land? Do you want to sell or subdivide the property? Use eLand Jamaica to search for details on the property. You can complete a title search and verify the owner before you sell the property. If your name does not appear on the title, register the land or clarify the existing title in your name before you sell. A title is a notice to the world of your ownership of land. For more information, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. The National Land Agency, one goal to serve you better. Are you confident that you are the legal owner of your property? Take action to secure your property ownership. Get a registered certificate of title and become the legal owner of your property. To register your property and obtain a certificate of title, you will need to provide a tax registration number (TRN), a valid government-issued identification, a survey diagram, documentation to prove ownership, up-to-date property tax certificate, the names, addresses, and occupations of 2 neighbors over the age of 50 who are not family members and can give a declaration on your behalf. Proof that you have been in open, undisturbed, and undisputed possession of the property for 12 years or more. For further information on registering your property and obtaining a certificate of title, contact the National Land.
To the program, Tenny Miller live here, and I'm live and direct. We're just having a discussion with Member of Parliament Fitz Jackson, opposition spokesman on national security, and he was lamenting the litany of woes when it comes to what's happening in the parliament and the kind of a treatment that they are subjected to in parliament, and their concern with how the speaker, who happens to be the wife of the prime minister, Miss Holness, is handling her responsibility as Speaker of the House. And they are feeling quite strongly that it is impartial. It's not partial, it's very impartial. And that, what should I know? She should be behaving impartially, but instead, there's a lot of partiality as it relates to her ruling and how she manages the whole process of the proceedings of the House, and how, when she has to chair committees that she chairs, how matters are handled. And they seem to be at that point, or getting to that point, where they, as an opposition, Her Majesty's loyal opposition, as it were, will have to take a position on and come to a decision as to how to treat with it, and whether or not the Prime Minister, in his wisdom, and having looked at the concerns of the other members to see whether or not it makes sense, and in the eyes of civil society and the rest of the public, also sees it fit. And I don't know if he needs the bearing of the public to put pressure on him, or the concerns of the public to help to, create more emphasis than is necessary on the fact that, well, maybe he might have to make an adjustment as to who the speaker is, or allow Mr. Eroy to be the speaker and appoint somebody as a deputy. I don't know. It is his prerogative, he's a party leader, he's prime minister, and he, based on the Westminster model, he has the responsibility, if not the sole authority, as leader and as president, as leader and of the party and as prime minister to name the speaker. But then the speaker has got to be somebody who commands the respect of the entire parliament, not just the governing side, but the entire parliament. And, you know, to operate in a very strong, professional and impartial manner. So we just hope that something will be done about this at the earliest possible time, because right now it's not the parliament. It seemed to be a bunch of school children playing with the first chemistry set with some amount of vulgarity, rudeness, ignorance, nonsense, stupidity, and arrogance. And it's from one level to the other. And we cannot have the highest house in the land with our parliamentarians who are being paid so much $100,000 and millions of dollars for salary, both sides, for salaries. They can't seem to, as big people, deal and exercise the level of this decency and decorum, both as government and opposition, to set a better example for the nation. It is painful. And if you have that level of disdain and that level of cantankerousness inside the house, what are they going to achieve for the year? Because it's just going to be a whole lot of quarrel and motions and objections and standing orders and rise and appoint a standing order, and they will continue all of this, and they go around in a cycle. And God help them if they move. And how will the business of the day carry out and carry on? And how will this all affect the business of the day and the institutions? And they're coming power. Because what it means, all of these other institutions with the staff and the people and everything for the next year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, for however long this creature of parliament is going to be there, the NARR, National Reconstruction and Reconciliation Authority, is going to be in place for, it's just, you know, how the power is going to be concentrated, whether or not, I don't know, you know. Absolute power corrupts. I don't know what the nation has to do with it, what the opposition is doing about it, what civil society wants to do about it, where are we going to go with it. But it is at that point where we have to start to take a stand, both as individuals, as professional journalists, as people, and as civil society, and point out things that are not right, decent, moral, and honest, and call it for what it is. We cannot continue like this. I'm sorry. This is Tenny Live. Some time ago, I mentioned this in my opening about an incident which took place in Montego Bay, where it was a lone gunman went to a church or somebody in pursuit of somebody. And there are several stories that are out there as to what really happened, why it happened. And it is sending a kind of signal, because this is like about the third or fourth church killing within the last 3 to 4 years. I know just one in Falmouth, and if I'm not mistaken, there was one in St. Thomas, and I don't know where else it's going to happen. I think St. Catherine and here now in Montego Bay. And is it that these gunmen don't have any respect for God? They don't have no care? And what has caused the society to plunge so deep and dark into this level of viciousness and, hate? Is it money? Is it, I don't know. Because you cannot have so much anger for one person or carrying a vendetta for an individual and you bring it into the person's family because you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. So you carry out these dastardly acts. You carry out these cruel acts against women, innocent women who, whether it's not the son or the daughter or aunt or somebody, might have done you something. But this person is not the person that you find. You wait until you find that person who did it. And these young people have no heart, no love, and no care in their heart. It is very sad where the nation is going with this. And I said in a previous broadcast, when that other famous, what they call it, social media person, got entangled with the police and somebody else, and guns were brought into play. The issue of the gun is a very serious one. And unless the police, the ministry, they collaborate with civil society and the churches, community-based organizations, but we have to find some common ground as to how to bring in the guns. Because the crime might be down and the police now stand tall and say, oh yes, we have brought down crime because we have targeted. What you do, you have an arrangement for tell them, so nobody find a shot and not shoot nobody so that we look good? I don't know what is the risk, but we have to find a way to get guns out of the hands of criminals and out of the hands of some of these young people who are unemployed and unproductive. Let me just play something for you.
Here, touch your neighbor and say, dip. Jordan dirty, but I want to get rid of leprosy. Dip. Come on, now somebody. You sit down in here with disease and a whole heap of doctor. Some of you, your house coming like a pharmacy. But God tell me to tell you, jump up on your feet. And when I count to 3, make up. Touch your neighbor and say, neighbor, the pill them now work. Deep. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, you have letter for another specialist. Whom you talk to, this letter is the 3rd one.
In the middle of a sermon, in the middle of the sermon, shot a fire. Not one, not two, but 3 or 4 shots fired in a broad daylight. Not down the road, not at the street corner, not near the bar, but in a church. In a church. So you're not really protected anywhere. Nowhere is safe. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are. Man, them come and fire shot same way. And if a baby or small children were in the way, you just hear, is that boy is a casualty. Because some men go to communities and they say they go inside there, and when they go in there for an individual, if they don't catch him, they might take down to the suckling. They might go take the baby and the mother and anybody else. And at the same time, if they see that person another time, they still going to kill that person. After having killed their mother or their father or their child or children. The nation is healing. And if we're going to have this kind of a display in Parliament, and we're going to have this kind of display there, so, and what we see, what happens on the streets, we are a law, we are a country that is being governed by an order, which is like institutionalized disorder. Parliament are gone. Police, they kill a policeman, them kidnap and kill policeman recently out in the country. And about 2 policemen die one after the other. Guns. The entertainer or social media person. Whether their guns are legal or illegal, I don't know. But guns were brought into play because it is the thing to draw your gun and to defend yourself. A man trouble a man, or take away a man things, or take away a man money because him set up him thing for get him scamming money and somebody responsible take it and then him run away with the money. And a man a look for him and can't find him. And him take him mother out of church. Or him take him father, from church or somebody. And they just pump some shot into them. They go to a funeral. And while people are burying their dead, the gunman go on a rampage at a funeral. Because the dead man do something to them and them not catch him. So they might take one auntie, our uncle, our son, our one daughter to pay the price for it. And it's like, it's okay. This society seems to become numb to issues of this nature as they are becoming numb to political corruption, numb to other kind of corruption. They are becoming numb to lawlessness. The taximan drive as he feel like, or the busman drives as he feels like, or the busman encourages the 12 and 13 and 14-year-old school children to carry on in a disgraceful and disorderly conduct, and they gyrate and they carry on, and it is fun and it's excitement. And after them crew and the children congregate at a particular shop or place or corner to wait on particular bus drivers so that they can play music and gyrate and carry on in the bus. And we don't have anybody anymore who can even talk to a youngster on the street and scold him or her. Because apart from that, child will tell you a string load of cloth that you can manage wear or buy. I've never seen. He might go home and mention it to his mother or father, and them come look for you and tell you some more. If them the fire shot pan you, say you're trouble them picnic. We're governed by an order which is becoming institutionalized disorder. We have to find a way to deal with values, attitudes, morals, civility, decency, respect, honesty. Just some little things. Just some little things. Social media doesn't help. It is good, it's technology. And we welcome advanced technology. But some of the things that are put out in the name of social media and in the name of freedom of expression make your stomach curdle. Sick your stomach. You want to puke. I don't know. Where do we go? Where do we go? And how are we getting there? Fast. Nowhere, fast. And if all these fractiousness and elements of dysfunction are within the society, what is the society now becomes schizophrenic? And where will it end? You can't talk to a man, or you get him tell you about your parts, or you're driving and the man just bad drive you, and if you say anything to him and come out with a machete or tells him we shoot you. Some policeman just choose to pick on you. Or if him stop you somewhere and you might commit an infraction, yes or no. So what you can say for yourself. You go in at the Chinaman shop and him have another black man inside their work film and him hopping at the top of the shop and him have the man at the door and the man at the door disrespect you in such a way just to the benefit of the Chinaman, for sure the Chinaman say my work and he might exercise power for the Chinaman and he might abuse you and do all sorts of things to you for the Chinaman. Society is becoming schizophrenic. Huh? You go to one of the banks and you have to stand in line for 2 days. And after waiting for a long time, you hear the machine chip out. Or you see, they have 7 banks, 7 ATM machines, like happening in Sam Shop Square, Montego Bay. And these nice, honorable institutions that we put our money into. And you go there and they have 5 or 6 ATMs and only 1 working. And there you go into the bank or try to get into the bank to speak to a manager or somebody about it. Like what took place out in Ironshore with that machine that is out in Ironshore. And they have 3 ATMs, and when you try to talk, I remember one time I went there. The bank is on the same side where Burger King is on that side. I went there, and when I tried to talk to a manager inside, first of all, I was told she's having her lunch and she can't come to nobody outside. And there were several of us outside who were experiencing some serious challenges with the ATM and not being able to access money or anything. And people just treat you with contempt. And people just treat you with disrespect. and this is a financial institution that handles your money. And when you go to stand up in the line, they charge you a stand in the line fee. They charge you a fee for going inside the ATM fee, for using the ATM fee, for checking your account, for getting a receipt. And before you come out there, you might end up paying $300 or $400 of fees and get into overdraft because you don't really have the money inside there. Just wonder if they put your pay inside there. Or you have anything left inside there because you want to buy one bread or a tin of milk. And everything you do, them charge you a fee and have no money no inside if you get the fee. Them hold it there, and anytime you put money inside there again, them take out those fees. When the ATM, if and when the ATM works within 4 times or 5 times of the week. Especially the ATMs in Sam Shop Square, Montego Bay, where the bread man, them they right there so. Them have selective working attitude when them feel like the one in Anshore, maybe the same thing. And if you go there one day and all 3 machines are working at Anshore or in Montego Bay, all of them work one day, pray and enjoy and relax and rejoice and try get through quick, because before the line finish, they're going to shut down again. I don't know. We are being governed by an order which is becoming institutionalized disorder. And it's not just Parliament. It is the security forces in one way or the other. And I know a lot of policemen are trying, you know, and a lot of decent, honorable, honest police there. They have a man named Mr. A senior superintendent, Montego Bay, great Jamaican man. Mr. Salmon, or what his name is, great Jamaican man. He might work hard and he might try, but he might have some scoundrels outside in the park too. So the child go to school and him wear him tight pants and the pants underneath him bottom. And when the teacher talk to him, he tell the teacher string load about him mama and what and where to suck. You go to church, see it? And while some people fling in the spirit of the Holy Ghost, and I said, devil, go on. Man a bus shot out there. And he gone in the church, gone fire shot. Huh? It happening at the market. It happening in the supermarket. It happening anywhere. We looked at the parliamentary excitement this week. The touching of the maize, that sacred instrument of colonial heritage and past, and we stick onto it dearly. Arguing over a bill in some respects that will deny the poor people in this country rights, benefits, and privilege in some instances and in some ways. A great concept for growth and development and for building back. And nothing wrong in building back and so on, but it's just not what you do, it's how you do what you do. And because we have a society, not just polarized alone, but a society that is a Nancy society. And Nancy is the folk hero of this country. And as a result of which we have to put in the necessary safeguards. We have war and disturbance, and somebody have to touch the mace, and once you touch the mace, it's like you touch Her Majesty herself. And all our lawyer subjects get into a frantic rage as to what you should or shouldn't do and how you do it. And that could have been prevented if only we exercise civility, respect, decency, and allow democracy to prevail. Next week, we're going on the street to see what's happening there with some people, because there's some people, even in Montego Bay, who don't live nowhere because of the hurricane. Them left Hanover, Lucy, or other place, Sandy Bay, Savlamar, and them come to Montego Bay. Some of them working and don't live nowhere. At night time, them hand up, go in at some little church place, go lie down and sleep. With them pack up cardboard or in an unfinished building and house, go try to get a sleep and they wake up early morning and left them before anybody see them. We're going to find some of those people. We're going to talk to them. We're going to show you some of the things that are real and happening and that are not happening in this country. Until I catch you again, you sleep the sleep of the just, free from all your cares and sorrows. And as your night turns to day, as indeed it must, may you wake to a brighter tomorrow. This is Tenny Miller saying no. Walk good.